Growing wild next to the road, or driving you up the wall because they're crawling all over your perfectly organized garden, weeds are everywhere. But for all that we're so hell-bent on killing every single one of them, most weeds are actually very beneficial for you. Besides being perfectly edible, almost all of them can be used to treat every ick and sick under the sun. So before you attack those nettles and chickweeds poking through your garden beds, have a look at some of the surprising benefits they can bring to your natural pharmaceutical cupboard, starting with dandelions. Dandelions are probably the most commonly recognized weed on our list, and one that almost everyone can identify. Even children know that they can chew on the tangy stems when they're out playing in the yard, and you should totally let them. Besides being perfectly edible from root to flower, dandelions are incredibly high in almost all of the immune-boosting vitamins. A, B, C, oh, just throw the whole alphabet in there. Dandelions probably have some of it. Back in the day, it was used in salads, tonics, and teas as a good little booster for those early spring colds. It's also good for the organs that filter the system, like the liver and kidneys. Chicory will forever be the only substitute for coffee that actually tastes good. It's still the main ingredient in most instant coffee brands today. The little bluebell flowers are pretty enough to have an excuse to keep them around. And while you're at it, use your chicory to treat your stomach problems. Constipation, loss of appetite, cramps. Chicory can do it all. It's even used to help patients undergoing chemotherapy with their appetites and to actually keep the food down. It surprised us that daisies were considered a weed at all. Sure, it can spread like nobody's business, but they're so pretty and dainty that we can't imagine anyone wanting to eradicate them at all. And you really shouldn't. Bees love them, and so will your digestive tract. It's slightly diuretic, so it'll help clear out your system without being too harsh. And at one point, daisies were one of the very few options to treat whooping cough out there. It relaxes the muscles in the chest, loosens phlegm, and reduces inflammation in the throat all the way down to the intestines. Appropriate for children, the elderly, and everyone in between. We're not talking about the plantains that grow in tropical climates. These plantains look nothing like banana trees. These short, low-growing and flat-leaved pests never seem to die, no matter how often you mow them down or pull them out. And surprisingly, few people know that they're perfectly edible. Plantains are very good for loosening phlegm, or treating any chest-related illness, really. But it's its ability to stimulate cellular repair that makes it so valuable as a medicinal aid. Taken in combination with other herbal treatments, it will speed up the healing process, as well as helping you bounce back faster after being sick for a long time. Lamb's Quarters is here to help the elderly. It reduces bone density, fights against osteoporosis, and treats arthritis, both as an addition to topical salves and as an internal aid when drunk as a tea. There have been some indications that it can combat certain cancers, and many still use it to treat skin conditions like eczema, bug bites, and sunburns. Common backyard mallow is a pretty impressive little specimen. It's not the same as the marshmallow plant, so don't mistake the two. Though marshmallow is very medicinally well-rounded all on its own too. The seed pods alone have more than 20% worth of protein. The thick mucilage released when you cook the roots down is great for treating nausea and stomach ulcers. That same sticky residue that's released from the roots makes an airtight barrier between an open wound and outside infections, all while helping to stop bleeding. And like its tastier marshmallow cousin, it's also a soothing treatment for sore throats and harsh coughs. Almost all of our grandparents have heard about yarrow, especially those that grew up during the Great Depression. It's been used for centuries as a pain and fever reliever, as well as an open wound treatment. It helps blood coagulate and ease the pain around the wound. Unsurprisingly, it's also used outwardly to treat rashes and bug bites. Don't mistake yarrow for its highly poisonous lookalike, hemlock. So get your seeds from a reputable source and keep it in a pot. They like to spread far and wide. Purslane is probably the most overpriced herbal remedy on our list. There's absolutely no need to pay for it when it's probably growing freely in your backyard anyway. It's got a salty taste to it, and it was often used to season food when salt was scarce. And like salt, it can be used to disinfect outward rashes and scrapes. Omega fatty acids are present in purslane, a rare find outside of animal products, and it's high in vitamins A, C, and E. So make it part of your springtime tonic to get ahead of those colds and coughs. Chickweed is a good source of potassium, calcium, and iron, and it is high in vitamins A, C, and D. It's used outwardly for acne, eczema, rashes, and burns. But we like to mention chickweed for its bladder assistance. From minor infections all the way to kidney stones, chickweed's got you covered. All of the clover species have some use in your backyard pharmaceutical arsenal, but red clover specifically is an inconspicuous little champion. Your chickens and livestock will love it, especially the girls, because red clover is the helper of women, both human and animal. It cleans out the reproductive tract after giving birth and promotes cell repair in those areas. Women with irregular cycles or menstrual-related mood swings can naturally stabilize their hormonal imbalances, and it eases menstrual cramping better than over-the-counter pain medication does. And clover doesn't stop there. It also treats coughs, is a sleep aid, it's anti-inflammatory, and given all of the nutrients it contains, it shouldn't be surprising that it helps for listlessness and low energy levels. Mullein is a popular addition to herb gardens everywhere. Of all the remedies for chest-related conditions like bronchitis, asthma, and allergies, it's one of the most targeted herbal treatments you can grow, especially if your climate is on the cooler side and doesn't favor a tropical plant like ginger. But it's mild enough that it can be used to treat headaches, sore throats, and ear infections in children too. Stinging nettle is the bane of every gardener's existence. Besides spreading like wildfire, pulling them out causes so much skin irritation that most of us resort to poisoning them to death instead. But they are in fact totally edible and very high in vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and antioxidants. You'll need to grind them down or cook them first to get rid of those irksome barbs, and when you do, you can count on one of the best natural treatments for your allergies and any irritation or infection in your reproductive tract. Cleavers are for our friends who live in colder climates. They like things wet and muggy in order to thrive. Back in the day, cleavers were prescribed to women suffering from fertility issues, as well as those who had any issues surrounding their hormones, unusual menstrual cycles, and for women going through menopause. And for the rest who don't need it to treat female-related issues, there's always its use as a treatment for rashes, bruises, psoriasis, and to promote hair growth. Okay, dead nettle sounds pretty creepy, but it's called that because it sort of looks like other nettle species, except for those deep purple leaves that make the plant look like it's dead from a distance. It's related to the mint family, and it's used in very much the same way as its cousins, for the chest and all conditions related to it. But that's not why we want to add it to our list. Dead nettle has a never-ending list of things it can treat. It's anti-inflammatory, immune-boosting, and fights bacterial infections. It can be used to treat outward skin conditions and wounds. It's astringent and antifungal. Adding dead nettle to any herbal tea is going to be a good idea, no matter what ailment you have. And finally, we have fireweed, another one of those plants that have no business being hated as much as they are. It's one of the most gorgeous flowers growing wild that you could ask for in the garden. But people do go out of their way to eradicate them nonetheless. If only they knew How delicious it was! It's one of the few herbal remedies that actually tastes very good. It reduces inflammation, both internal and external. It's a mild pain reliever, and recent studies have shown that there might be some truth to the old-timers' claims that it shrunk tumors. The studies are still in their early stages, but they've already begun to test it on patients with enlarged prostates. We'll keep you updated on those findings, but so far things are looking promising. And there you have it, 15 backyard weeds that won't need any babying from you in order to thrive and spread to their heart's content. Don't be so quick to pull out those dandelions and clover creepers out of your manicured lawn. They might just be exactly what you've been looking for to treat. Well, just about everything under the sun. Nature's got everything you need already. Invite her in. She'll be thrilled to treat your joints and your stuffy nose for free. Until next time, love the earth beneath your feet, and she'll love you in turn. Cheers.